Okay.
Hi, everyone. Well, welcome to another episode of Small Talk. My guest today is an author of 6 books so far, including Embracing the Blend and Stamp Out Stress. And we're going to find out more about his books, but first let's find out a bit about him. Ladies and gentlemen, Monty Clayton Ritchings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nancy.
So first of all, tell me about your books, when you wrote them and what they're about.
Well, my first book was Embracing the Blend. I originally wrote it in, I think it was 2007, and then I reissued it in 2009. Stamp Out Stress is an offshoot of chapter 1 of Embracing the Blend. Actually, there's 4 books that belong in that series. The other ones are Chakras Demystified and Healthy Children Only Need 3 Things. So that's a series, and those are all nonfiction. And my background is in mysticism. I've been a member of the Rosicrucian Order, Amorc, for about 40 years, and I've always had a really keen interest on what makes people work. So, coming from my own background, I had a pretty difficult childhood. Trish wasn't around, so I didn't have anybody to keep me straight.
So the idea of your books is you help people deal with the stress, how to cope with it, how to improve their lives, etc. Right?
Yeah, I believe that when we start to understand and work with our belief systems, we can change our lives. A lot of the things that happen in our lives that we don't like are actually based on our belief systems. So it's a process of recognizing the belief system, or the more accurately, the energy of the belief system. You don't actually have to know the belief system itself, but one of the things that I've learned over my process of studying is that there's a relationship between our thinking and our endocrine system. And the endocrine system is sort of the chemical processing system inside of our bodies. And its purpose is to maintain what we call metabolic balance. So when we have belief systems that are really great, we release chemicals that help us to feel really great. And when we have systems that are thoughts that are dysfunctional, then they cause the endocrine system to go into overload, and they release chemicals that actually throw us out of balance in the attempt to bring us into balance. So it's a matter of recognizing when we become aware of what our endocrine system is doing and what our thinking does in that process, that we can actually start to manage our lives.
Right. I understand a lot of what you're saying, because as you said, if you have a tough childhood, then your belief system is warped by that childhood, right?
Yeah. So psychologists say that your personality, which is how you basically express yourself in this lifetime, is set by the time that you reach your 7th birthday. So that's 8 years that it has to be set, because the gestation period needs to be included in that, because the learning process that goes on while you're still in mom's tummy is huge. And it's something that really needs to be recognized. And when things happen in your childhood, until a person starts to realize that they're impacting their adulthood and how they're affecting their adulthood, they can't move forward. They're stuck in their life because this belief system is just holding them in place.
Yes.
See, the ego has 2 purposes. The first thing is it's our cyber wallet. It's so that you wake up every morning being Nancy. You don't wake up some morning thinking you're George. It would be really, really confusing for you if you woke up as the wrong person. So that's the ego's job, to keep you in the right persona. And the other thing, the other job it has, is to protect us. It learns how to protect us in those years prior to our 7th birthday. And if we come from particularly dysfunctional families, we're going to have a lot of work for our egos to do. And the majority of it is not functional. And so if we truly want to move forward in our lives and grow as human beings, we have to deal with those childhood issues. And the way that I do it is different than the way that if you went to a counselor or a psychologist or so on, because I believe that what happens is it's not the belief that is the issue that's causing you the problem. It's the emotion attached to the belief.
Right. Okay.
And so if you can release the emotion, it just becomes a thought.
Okay. You know, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Then you can deal with the thought, but you have to get the emotion out of the way. Use your emotions for good, not for holding you in place.
Right. Okay. Can you give me an example of that? Or is that not too broad a question?
Not really. I'm a believer. Actually, I have the book right here.
Okay.
This is Louise Hay's book. She owns Hay Publishing. Okay. This book is called "You Could Heal Your Life," and this whole book has here. I'm promoting somebody else's books, but this is a great book. I've promoted this book for probably 30 years. Inside the middle of the book, it has a list of different conditions that we create as human beings, and what the emotion is that's tied to it. And she gives these really neat affirmations that help with it. Now, so an example of it, the other day, I still work in an outside job as I'm developing this thing, and I bent over to pick something up, and I popped a vertebrae in my lower back in the lumbar area. Okay. It hurt. I wasn't doing anything after that. I immediately booked an appointment, and 3 hours later, I was laying on the chiropractor's table. It helped. But as he was doing it, he told me that my middle back was so bound up that it's no wonder that happened, because there was no flexibility in my back. So I came home and I looked up what Louise Hay had to say about it, and it was about holding on too tight. And because I'm going through a very transitional time right now, I'm trying to move into more to do with my books and being able to be self-reliant as an author. And so as soon as I did the affirmation that went with it, my back is just great now. That was I'm glad that I went to the chiropractor and he put that reset my back. But it was because the belief system was holding the muscles in my back too tight. It was not allowing my backbone to be flexible. Yeah. And that's the key to it.
Wow. Yeah. Kind of interesting, I was just thinking about it. Like, I have social anxiety, and then when I'm out having to, in that situation, I'm very tight. I know it. I can feel my body, and when I get home, I'm all sore.
Yeah. And I'll make you bet when you were a kid, because it was very typical at the time that we were younger, that we were told to, shut up and get out of the way. Yeah. What you have to say is not important. Just go get in the closet, whatever the hell it was there. And then when we're adults, we're expected to get up and do public speaking and be able to interact with other people and stuff. But we've got all this back talk that we've been trained as children that's telling us, no, you can't talk to those people because they're strangers. You can't do public speaking because you're what you have to say is not important. You need to get over in the closet. And so it's a matter of recognizing those and releasing them.
Right. Wow, that's really fascinating. I really like that. I think it's important we live in a world where a lot of us live stressful lives, right? Yeah. Just because of what we have to do to survive, whatever. And throw COVID in there. And I was just hearing a lot about people reacting in anger these days, whereas maybe 2 or 3 years ago they wouldn't have. So is that part and parcel of the things that you help people deal with?
I really like to help people deal with anything that limits their lives, because the formula is always the same. You have a dysfunctional belief, there's an emotion attached to it, and as long as that emotion is attached to it, it's going to pop up when one and one always makes two.
Right.
And it's a dysfunctional belief, emotion, reaction. It's going to happen until the day you step back and say, wait a minute, I don't want that reaction anymore. I'm going to take a different route.
Okay. So
And you can,
that's to help people learn how to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. One of the things that I've learned, I started working, doing intuitive healing probably 30 years ago. And the one thing that I noticed over and over and over again is most people are not in their bodies. They don't have a lot of body recognition. They're so caught up in their emotional body that they have no sense of what the only thing that their physical body does is react to their emotions. And so one of the things that I'm very adamant about, and I have to continue to remind myself about it even, is that we need to be in our bodies and we need to pay attention to how our body is reacting to what's going on. And to make choices about how those reactions are going to come out. There's some really simple techniques that can be done. First of all, most people do not breathe properly. That is absolutely key. One of the first things that they're going to teach you when you go to yoga is that to take for yourself, take a deep breath right now. Okay. Okay. What did you move?
My shoulders.
Yeah. The lungs have 3 stages to them. When you take a deep breath, the air goes in and it's supposed to go into the bottom of your lungs and then circulate from there. But what happens is the toxins accumulate in the bottom of your lungs. And if you don't breathe from your belly, those toxins don't get released. And so every time you take a breath, your breath goes back through those toxins again. How can you possibly be healthy and relaxed and in your body if you're constantly breathing in your own toxins over and over again? So now take a deep breath, but this time when you do it, push your belly up.
Right.
Feel the difference in your breathing?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you breathe, not just when you're doing deep breathing, but anytime you're breathing, your belly should always move because it actuates the bottom of your lungs. Okay, so next thing is drinking enough water. That we're like, what is it, 80-90% water, and most people don't drink enough of it, and it needs to be straight water. Coffee is a diuretic. I love my coffee, but I recognize because it's a diuretic, I need to replace what it's going to cause me to pee out. Right. So you always drinking lots and lots of water, not too cold of water because that can cause your muscles to go into shock, but cold water. The third one is a really neat technique that I was given a long time ago. When we get caught up in our stuff, we become what I call a head case. We got all this stuff going on in our head. So what happens is, are you familiar with the chakras at all in the body?
A little, yes.
Okay, so you have 7 major chakras in your body. The one of most important is called the crown chakra. It's related to the pituitary gland, which is the master gland of the body and part of the endocrine system. It sits right in the center of your forehead here. You know when a baby is born, the skull is like this. And there's that soft spot there. That soft spot is so that the crown chakra stays open. They're downloading information and the skull won't get in the way. And eventually, by the time they're about 1, it seals up. Okay, so the crown chakra still needs to be open. When you get caught up in your head, the crown chakra shuts off. Okay, so it's closed. And you're going on and on and on. And a lot of people can't get out of that. So there's a technique. The system that I work with, there's 9 chakras. So you have the 7 chakras in the body. You have 1 chakra, which is about 18 inches above your head. It's in your energy field. And there's 1 equal distance below you it's called the earth chakra. Okay. So when you're caught up in your head, all you do is you take your fingers like this and pretend you got a little piece of yarn in here. Okay. And then you take, now I'm left-handed, so I get all confused what's left and right, or clockwise and counterclockwise. So you take it like this, like you got a little piece of yarn. Okay, put it above your head like this, and go around in a clockwise manner, whatever number of times you want, 5 or 6 times. And then when you're finished, just take the end of the yarn and go boop like this, and reconnect with the star chakra. What do you feel?
I'm not sure.
Can you feel a rush going down your backbone?
No, I didn't.
Okay, do it again. Just real slow. and then poop.
I just got a shiver.
Yeah. Yeah. What that is that's your crown chakra opening up, and it's allowing the universal energy to flow into your body.
Ah.
And I actually, when I do that, I feel myself sit more into my chair.
Oh,
Because
yes.
it goes down that far.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a really great way of getting out of your head. And that's a really big thing that I emphasize with people is they need to get out of their head.
Yeah. Yes, I'm really bad for that. I don't sleep well because my head is always, my brain's always going, and it's
Yeah.
hard to get out of it. Yeah. So I'll
Yeah.
practice this. Definitely.
Yeah, just do that as often as you want, and do it nice and slow, because the chakras don't like being opened really fast. It's hard for them to do that. Okay. And so each of your chakras should be about 4 inches in diameter, and then you could do that with all the chakras if you want to, and just open them up back and front, because the crown chakra and the root chakra, which is down at the end of your tailbone, they're vertical chakras. The other ones are all horizontal. And so they each have a back and front, so they receive energy and they give off energy. And it's important to have those all open, because that's how we communicate with people. That's why my book, Chakras Demystified, I wrote it, was to help people to understand that we do more of our communication energetically than we do verbally.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So if people wanted to, now I know you have a website. Is that where they would go to get your books?
They are. I'm in, as part of the reason why I'm still working outside. I'm in the process of rewriting everything that I'm doing. Okay. This last year and a half has been a huge rewrite. I'm not changing what's in the books, just for reformulating stuff. I have to quite honestly admit, I am not impressed with Amazon. Okay. And I'll broadcast that to anybody. And so I'm in the process. I'm using a website called Draft to Digital, and they will post my books on all of the digital sites. And so that'll be done here in the next couple of months. That I'll have them all done. They are currently available only on Amazon, but I'm going to fix that. Okay. Yeah. And then I have this guy. Whoop. Oh, this is the one that Trish said to you.
What the fiction?
No, this actually isn't fiction.
Oh, it isn't. Oh.
Well, it is. It's hybrid fiction. It's truth hidden in fiction.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. The reason why I actually channeled this book. Oh. It was really neat. I was working with a lady named Cheryl Brewster. She has a coaching business over in North Vancouver by the name of The Intuitive Life. Right. And I was having a session with her, and all of a sudden my left shoulder, it got so sore. It was like an eagle was sitting there, and he was squishing his talons into my shoulder. So after I got finished with the session with Cheryl, I closed my eyes and I went into my body, and then I went to the shoulder and I said, "What do you want?" And this female voice she was just going nuts. And she says, "Get on your computer. You're going to write a book, and it's called The Ascender's Return to Grace." So I got over onto my laptop, and 3 months later, there it was.
That is awesome. Okay. Yeah. But how could people reach you personally if they wanted to do that? Or if you're open to that?
Probably through my website. Through my website will come to be. My email address is lifeforcecreative@gmail.com.
So I can include that.
Yeah. I'm in the process right now. The websites are being built. There is powerfulyoupowerfulme.com will be my website for this sort of thing, because I really believe that the way that we progress in this lifetime is through helping other people in a healthy way.
Yes.
It serves no purpose to help somebody else out, put ourselves to a disadvantage. But there's always ways that you can help other people and help yourself at the same time. And I believe very much that we are in what the Christians call Armageddon. And in astrology, it's the cusp between Pisces and Aquarius. And we have about 150 years of this going on. And it's all the fault of the band called The Fifth Dimension. They brought out a song called The Age of Aquarius back in the late 60s. Remember that?
Yes.
Yep. Yep, all their fault. So we are growing into the age of Aquarius, and what the age of Aquarius is about knowing yourself. It's about moving into the Christ consciousness. The Christians talk about Christ returning, and it's not about Christ returning at all, because Christ never left. But we work in the Christ consciousness, and the Christ consciousness is created by getting past the limitations that we've created in our lives. That when we start to realize that, diabetes is about the loss of joy in your life. Get the joy back. Right. And recognize we're more than a physical body. We're more than our emotions. And that's what the chakras are about. Those are all different levels of our being. Right. And we need to express each of those. We have the intellectual side, we have the intuitive side, we have we have our family connections and so like that. Those are all related to chakras, and we need to get that energy flowing, and we need to be able to connect to the bigger picture.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, when you mention helping people, whatever form that takes, my take on that is when you help somebody, first of all, it makes you feel good. It makes you want to do more to feel good, because feeling good is one of the greatest healing emotions, I think, right? Healing factor, yeah. Word there is, and it has a bonus effect, because you're not only pleasing yourself, but you're pleasing that other person in whatever format. And like I said, whether it's your business way or whatever it is, or just helping somebody cross the street, I don't know. Yeah. But it just is a really good healing. And I believe that with laughter too, with humor and laughter, it's also very healing. Throw in Absolutely. Chocolate and then you've got it made. Sorry.
No, that's right. That's right. That's exactly right. You see a big truck try to back into an alley or something like that. Put your four ways on and stop.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And it has a ripple effect, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, because now that truck driver he's happy because somebody helped him out, and he's more likely to go out and do a better job in his business for the day, and they just go home and maybe be in a mood to play with his kids. Yeah, all just because somebody stopped and helped him out on the street.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think you've talked about like intuitiveness and the mysticism and all of that. I think is great for healing not only the mind but the body as well, right? It has a dual effect, I believe, right?
Well, my understanding, and this is where in the next year I'm going to do some videos on this and possibly some podcasts and so on. My understanding about the way that disease is created is that basically you've got the four levels. You've got the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And the difference between those is the frequency of the vibration. The lower the frequency is when you get down to the physical, it makes it the most dense. So what happens is when there is an issue that is created, the first place that it is created is in the spiritual. And often we are not capable of consciously working at that level, so it doesn't get dealt with. So then it moves down into the emotional, and you can tell by the way that the way a person talks or the way that they feel or so on, that we're starting to become conscious of the fact that there's something there. And then it moves down into the mental, and they can actually feel it in their mind that they're lacking in energy. There's certain parts of their body are starting to act up, and then when it gets down to the physical, they have definite expression of whatever the manifestation is. And I believe that all disease is created in that manner. Right. Now, so what I believe needs to happen is you have to go back to that. You use if something has manifested in your physical body, is to go back to it and find out what is the root cause of it. And that's where books like Louise Hay's book is really helpful, because once you know what the emotion is attached to whatever that physical disposition is, then you start working on releasing that the emotion that's involved in that, then you get rid of the actual emotion that's attached to it, and then it moves out, and it can heal really, really fast. But it's absolutely essential that we have to understand that we are not just a physical body. We have a non-physical body that is actually us. And I had an example years and years and years ago. I was a client out at the WCB in Richmond, BC. And I became really good friends with one of the physiotherapists that was out there. And she had done some different healing courses. I don't remember which ones they were. But anyway, we got talking about it. And I said that I had been psychically given a process to help people who have suffered from amputation. To help them, because you know what happens when you have an amputation is that you get two different things. You get stump burn and you get phantom pains. Well, so she said, okay, so she happened to work on the amputee ward. So she asked around in the ward, and this fellow named Ben, he had been a logger, and he cut a tree down, and the tree forgot to go the way he wanted it to. And the tree came down on top of him. And he ended up losing his left leg about 4 inches below his knee, and he quite severely damaged his right leg. So I got him on the gurney, and so I taught him how to go into his body through breathing. And then I said, okay, Ben, what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch you in various places in your body, and I want you to tell me where I'm touching you. He says, okay. So I'm standing at his toes. And so I reached over and I put my fingers like this over his right big toe. And I said, where am I touching you? And he says, my right big toe. Okay. So I reached over and I touched his left big toe. Now, remember, that leg is amputated.
Yeah.
And I said, Ben, where am I touching you? And he says, well, you're touching but he says, but it's not there. And I said, that's why you have stump burn and phantom pain, is because you believe it's not there. And I said, what I want you to do is now close your eyes and believe that you're pushing the energy through into your non-physical body, and let that non-physical body be, because the world is the way that our mind believes it is. And if we believe that our leg is missing, it's missing, and you pay the consequences for it. So believe that the left leg is back there again, and you can let the energy flow through. I tell you, Ben was healed so fast. The physiotherapist said she could not believe how fast that he had that prosthetic on, and he was walking like crazy. I ran into him down in English Bay in Vancouver about a year later, and he comes up to me and he says, Monty, I just cannot thank you for so much for what you taught me. And he said, I have had no problem with my leg at all. I don't get any more rot from it, and my leg feels absolutely great. All I did was I changed his mind.
Yeah. How marvelous. It's difficult sometimes too. I'm just thinking about, when you go visit a doctor and they'll tell you, like, with their learned experience, that this is what's happening. And because they're your doctor and you think they have all this knowledge, you tend to want to believe them, even though sometimes in your mind you're doubting what you're told, but you're thinking you're wrong.
That's right, because that's the way we're taught in society, that doctors know everything. I've believed for a long time that doctors should preface what they say by, according to our school of thought, this is what we believe. Because there's no such thing as an incurable disease. All we have to do is change the thinking pattern that's causing the disease, but you have to catch it early enough.
Yeah. Right.
I have a dear friend that passed on here 2 weeks ago of cancer, and she was not about to change her thought patterns, and she went out with it. She died with her thought patterns died with her.
Yeah, I had a loved one, the same thing, exact same thing, because the doctor said it's terminal. This is it. He wouldn't think anything otherwise, and it's like And you can't convince somebody if you don't have the skills, right?
Well, it's more than that. It's not just having the skills. They have to make the choice that they're going to look at the world differently.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, if you don't have the words to to
That's right.
feed that to them is, I guess what I mean. I don't have any of that training, whereas you have that training, so there's a difference there.
Yeah. And it's a natural process. We are going to die. It's part of the nature. We're born and we die. Animals do that. Plants do that. And so we're going to do that. But it's what happens in the middle. That's the key to it. So it's about a good diet, good breathing, lots of water, living a healthy life, a fulfilling life. Listen to your doctor, but he's one of your medical advisors. He's not the God.
Right. Yes. Very important. I like that.
Yes.
Now, on that note, we'll run out of time.
Okay.
This is so fascinating. I really, I think you're going to have to come back on the show.
Okay.
In the meantime, just hang on while I say goodbye to the audience. So, everybody, my guest has been Monty Clayton Ritchings. I'm going to include his website, his email address if you want to contact him, find out about his books and whatever information you're looking for. I'm sure he's going to help you on that. And so I wish you all have a good day and peace out, everyone. Don't forget to be kind.